Day one.
Yeah.
How did it look out there?
It was fun. Guys were excited, amped up, flying around. Looked like a lot of good effort, a lot of good intent. So it was people competing. That's always encouraging.
A couple times it almost seems like they're itching to get the pads on, where there's a little bit of contact, but they have to hold back. Are you getting that sense?
Oh yeah, it's been it's still a contact sport, so it's their first instinct is to go make collisions, but it'll come. Shoot, Saturday.
Richard's first day really kind of getting out there. How does he compare to the Richard Sherman you had in Seattle?
You know, he's so in tune mentally. I mean, he was talking to me the entire practice about, and Coach Halfley about the little indicators that our offense gives and just little things here and there and just talking. And but he's so into it mentally with regards to football. Athletically looks the same. I mean, he looks great. And shoot, he'll tell you he's rusty, but he'll continue to work, continue to get better. But we're excited to have him, and he's really good for the room, and glad he's here.
Is that stuff that he relays to the offensive coaches, or do you talk to the offensive coaches about tells that Richard would pick up on?
No, it's just if we did an in-depth study, we'd all have little things here and there, and so Sherm's always digging. He's always digging to find a tell, and that's just the way he works. That's his mind. So at this time of year with our offense, we're so geared up to it's about us on defense and fundamentals and preaching effort and attacking the ball and violence and all that. So when it gets to game planning, we'll talk more with scheme and all that. But Sherm and every player, that's what makes him special. He's so locked in all the time because he's so far ahead schematically and fundamentally that he could spend all his time working on offensive identification. And that's a challenge. That's the cool thing about our system is that for every player, once they get to a spot where they're not thinking about their fundamentals and techniques, they're not thinking about their job and the scheme, they got to do something else, and that something else is watching the offense and learning football, so that way you might have to abort mission and take a play away that the offense is trying to run.
Seems that Richard is always advising a lot of the young guys around him in the same way that he's familiar with the offense. Is he familiar with the skill set and the tape of a lot of the young DBs to kind of help them? Or?
He's very observant, and he is. I think coaching's in his future. So, I mean, obviously not now. He's still got a few years left, obviously. But yeah, he's very in tune. He looks at the game like a coach, and the only difference is he still has the legs to be able to go do it.
Yesterday, Coach said Reuben will be getting a lot of these first-team reps, considering that he is the starter this year. But being that he won't be here for the first two games of the regular season, how do you guys approach that as far as getting other players to get those reps, to be prepared for that those first 2 weeks?
As we get closer, we'll address it. Right now, we're making sure that everybody gets their work. There's still 14 other games on the schedule, and once we get closer, we'll start to address the 2 games that he's going to miss.
Last year at this time, you were kind of sorting through whether Adrian Colbert was a corner or safety. Obviously now he's kind of settled into that spot. How much growth did you see from him just in the offseason program as a guy who has finally got a spot where he can kind of settle in?
He's Colbert. There's a lot of young guys on this defense, and sky's the limit for a lot of them. And Colbert's made of the right stuff and the right mindset, where he's not just a run and hit player. He's trying to get to the level of I don't want to put him there yet, but the level of great safeties where they're always thinking about the game, they're always thinking about offense, and they're really trying to figure out what the quarterback is trying to do to them. And so for him, he's growing every day. It's not going to stop growing either. Every day will be something new. Every day he'll learn something new. But for him, we're very excited about the direction and the mindset that he's got.
Something about his mindset that comes from kind of the hard road that he traveled to get here, being a seventh-round pick. Does he have that chip on his shoulder, so to speak?
Every player's got a story. Every player's got a story that has kind of developed their mindset, and his road, I could imagine that could play a part in it, and I'm sure that it goes even deeper than that. So whatever's happened to him, he's made of the right stuff, and it's done him very well.
Coyle had a nice pass breakup against Kittle today. You feel like he's maybe a underrated player?
Yeah, no, I do. I think Brock is underrated. I mean, kind of flies under the radar, but he's very smart, very technique sound, and he plays to his strengths, and his strengths are good enough. But I love Brock. The team loves Brock, and he's a guy that he still has a chance to improve. You know, last year was his first 5 games of real action at Mike Linebacker, so he's got things that he can do to continue to improve. So we appreciate Brock and what he has. So he's not underrated in this building, maybe outside, but definitely here he's definitely appreciated.
There were at least 2 instances where Fred Warner had good coverage. One was on Kendrick Bourne on a corner route, and I saw you go over and congratulate him afterwards. Another, he was covering Cole Hicatini. Where is he at in terms of the competition at linebacker, and what opportunity is there for him, particularly with those first 2 weeks, like you mentioned, down the road?
The message never changes. Even last year, the same discussions came up. The best 11 players are going to play. The best 2 linebackers are going to play week 1 and 2. So he's involved just like Elijah Lee is, Zacha is, Malcolm, Brock, Toomer. They're all in the mix. So D'Amico Ryans is doing a great job with making sure that he's getting them all the reps that they need to make sure that they're putting on good tape. And like I said, as we get closer to week 1, we'll start to address it.
I mean, you put a lot on his plate in the off-season program, and it seems like, I mean, it's just one practice, but it seems like he's carrying it over pretty well. Are you happy with where he's at just at this stage in the process?
Yeah, I mean, he's very smart. He's got tremendous instinct and smarts. That's never been. He's probably one of the smartest interviews that I've ever had from a linebacker spot. So the issue is not him learning, is not whether or not he's capable. It's getting pads on and going and making a play. And I don't doubt that that's going to happen. So excited about where he is, but he still has a long way to go too. So.
A lot of guys have been talking about pass rushing as a unit more this year. How is that different than what you guys the approach was last year? What do you see from that?
You know what? Last year, it was still the same mindset. There's, and I put it on me. Everything we do on defense, there's no gray area. Everyone has an exact job. Everyone knows everybody's job on the defense. Our run fits are exact. Our coverage responsibilities are exact. And when we got the pass rush, we could have done a lot better eliminating some of that gray area and really defining roles for everybody so that way they could rush better as a unit. And so taking away that gray area so that they can rush as a unit, and really the overall goal is to just disrupt the daylights out of the quarterback. And that's something that we're working on. So from a unit standpoint, it never changes. Throughout the NFL, you're trying to rush as a unit, but to eliminate that gray area so they can go as fast as humanly possible, that's the goal that we're trying to reach.
Like, what exactly do you mean?
It's a tough one to answer without getting in the scheme. I'm going to skip that one. I'll talk to you about it later, though.
You mentioned D'Amico earlier. What have you observed from him his first year as a position coach? He's got a young group. He's a young guy. I mean, do you feel the need to kind of poke your head into the room and to oversee it, or are you just letting him do his thing?
You know what? He's another one of those guys that's very, very smart. Even when he's playing, he knew what everybody was doing on the football field. He'll come in and ask questions, but he doesn't need to be babysat. He's got full control of the room, and he's doing a really good job. And he leans on Johnny. He leans on myself every once in a while. He doesn't have to, but he does. And he's doing a really good job.
What's your assessment of the pass rush today, and did anyone catch your eye?
I gotta watch the game. I'm always in the backfield, secondary. Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm always in the secondary because we're not in pads. We're supposed to beat them up without pads on up front. So I'm just making sure that we're sound in the back.
How was Reuben today, and what changes have you noticed since this time last year, particularly given that he was able to participate in the off-season program and he seems more healthy than he was?
Yeah, he's so first, obviously, he's very comfortable in the scheme. He looks lean, looks quick, fast. He's special. Everybody knows that. Again, it's no different than anyone else. This is only his second year, and he still has 3 games to play before he's not a rookie anymore. And so he's got a lot of stuff that he's got to learn from a schematic standpoint and from a technique standpoint, so that way his world can just become about offense and understanding what they're trying to do with regards to run game, pass game, and coverage responsibility.
Is it true his locker's next to Sherman's?
No, I don't know. I think the last time I was in there was the last game of the year last year, so.
Richard Sherman has been very complimentary of Akello Witherspoon. Can you talk a little bit about his growth from the beginning till now?
Akello, you know, when he got here, he was this little scrawny corner and that everyone said wouldn't hit anybody, and he's turned into a man. If you look at him, he just looks. He has great presence out on the football field. He's a grown man. He'll hit people. We couldn't be more pleased, but same thing. He's got 3 games to go before he's not a rookie anymore, and he's got a lot of stuff to learn. So it's going to be a constant theme. There's a lot of young players on our team that have a lot of potential, but potential doesn't mean anything unless you act on it. And that goes with being deliberate in everything that they do. And the great thing is that he's got the mindset to approach every rep, whether it's walkthrough, practice, individual. It doesn't matter. He's working because he's trying to get to a place of greatness, and he's got a mindset that I don't think I wouldn't bet against him. So.
Did you see that potential in him prior?
I think we all did. John, Kyle, Adam, Martin Mayhew, they all saw it. They wouldn't have drafted him if they didn't. There was a lot of studying that went into Akello, and you know, when you use a 3rd-round pick on somebody, you have great confidence, obviously, and we never had doubt.
With Akello, it's funny that you said, you know, he's changed as a player, but the first time that we saw him this offseason program, you know, when he was doing an interview with the media, it seemed like he was a different guy. Just he wasn't a rookie anymore. The confidence was there. I'm wondering if his persona he's adopted that more confident persona in meeting rooms as well. Confidence
comes with belief. I mean, he has great confidence because he's gone out, he's done it, he's had success. I mean, he's completely morphed into this grown man that's got great confidence. So he's in a great spot right now mentally, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
There's these young DBs now. You have a whole new crop in there this year. I'm wondering how much do they learn as far as the playbook goes in the off-season program, and how much, you know, is this first part of training camp going to be dedicated to getting them up to speed so they can play fast?
So for us, I mean, it's about repetition. It takes 10,000 hours to get good at something. So it's we start from square one every time. Doesn't matter how long they've been in the system. I'm sure it was boring for Sherm, but I'm sure he picked something up. So we always start from square one, and we go from there.
Akello Witherspoon wasn't tested a whole lot last year. Playing opposite Richard Sherman, he could get tested a lot this year. Is that going to be, what kind of an adjustment is that for a young cornerback to get the job?
I think he'll hold his own. Not really worried about that. You know, with whether Sherm teams throw away from Sherm or what, it doesn't change what we do schematically, and I'm pretty confident that Spoon's going to be able to hold up.
Last one.
When you're watching.
Right here.
Okay.
Thank you. Overall, how was the process of getting the team ready for this season? And my other question is, what has been the mental preparation for this new year? Thank you.
You're welcome. For us in the second year, it's the message doesn't change. You know, we've got a style of play that we're trying to achieve with attacking the ball, extreme violence, playing with all gas, no break. The fundamentals and the techniques and the standard at which we're trying to get our guys to operate, that doesn't change. Their owning the scheme and mastering their responsibility, that doesn't change. So none of that really changes. The challenge is for players now to take it and make it theirs here in the second year. And when they make it theirs, it'll just grow and it'll just get faster. All right, thanks everybody.